Mars Retrograde Portal is open. 5 things Aries should be careful of during this period. Aries, what if I told you that this upcoming Mars Retrograde could be the most transformative period of your life? From February 10th to March 24th, 2025, Mars, your celestial ruler, slows down and turns inward through the sensitive waters of Cancer. Normally, you're used to charging forward with your trademark fiery drive, leading the way, taking action, and pushing through challenges with passion and determination. But during this retrograde, something unique happens. You might feel caught in a tug of war between your usual assertiveness and an unexpected emotional turbulence that's surfacing from within. You may feel like you're caught between 2 opposing forces, your innate desire to act and the internal pull toward introspection and emotional reflection. This retrograde isn't just another typical phase in the zodiac. It's not just about delays or miscommunications, it's about your soul being called to recalibrate. Mars retrograde in Cancer invites you to go deeper, to dive into the emotional waters that you've perhaps neglected in your usual pursuit of external goals. At first glance, it might seem unsettling. After all, you're an Aries, action is your middle name. You're a go-getter, a pioneer. But when Mars retrogrades through Cancer, the usual outward momentum is replaced by an inward journey. A time for you to reassess your emotional world, your desires, and your deeper motivations. It can feel like the universe is asking you to take a step back and reconsider your path. And while that might initially feel uncomfortable, it's actually a rare opportunity for profound personal growth. Don't panic. Yes, it may feel confusing at first. It might be tempting to resist the emotional currents pulling at you. But I promise, Aries, this isn't a time to fight. It's a time to flow with the current. This period holds a powerful invitation from the cosmos to reconnect with your inner self, realign with your true purpose, and reconnect with the divine in a way you've never experienced before. Instead of rushing through, trying to bulldoze your way ahead, this is your chance to pause, reflect, and recalibrate. The universe is giving you the space to understand your deeper emotional needs, heal wounds that may have been overlooked, and recognize how your desires align with your soul's purpose. What if I told you that, by the end of this retrograde, you could emerge not only stronger but more spiritually aligned and emotionally aware than ever before? This isn't just another retrograde that will pass without consequence. This one could be a defining moment in your journey, if you let it. So, Aries, take a deep breath and trust the process. The next few weeks are pivotal for you. If you allow yourself to embrace the lessons this period offers, you'll find yourself transformed in ways you didn't expect. You won't want to miss this. Keep watching, because what lies ahead is more than just a retrograde, it's your soul's invitation to evolve. Chapter 1, Understanding Mars Retrograde in Cancer, the Spiritual Invitation. Let's break it down. Aries, what exactly is Mars retrograde? And why should it matter to you? We're talking about Mars, the planet that rules your zodiac sign. The driving force behind your ambition, your fearless energy, and your relentless need to take action. Mars is all about forward motion, about charging ahead and conquering new ground. It's what makes you bold, courageous, and unstoppable. Mars is the cosmic warrior, and when it goes retrograde, it's like that warrior suddenly takes a step back, putting down the sword and looking inward. Mars retrograde happens when the planet appears to move backward in its orbit. Now, it's important to remember that planets never actually move backward. This is just the way things look from Earth. But what really happens is that the energy of the planet shifts. Instead of pushing outward, the energy of Mars pulls inward. For you, Aries, this can feel like a sudden disruption to your usual rhythm. Normally, you're ready to take action, charge into the unknown, and lead the way. But during Mars retrograde, that usual fiery, dynamic energy becomes a little more introspective. Now, add the Cancer influence to the mix. Cancer is a water sign, ruled by the moon, and it governs the realm of emotions, intuition, and home life. When Mars, the planet of action, enters the emotional waters of Cancer, it creates a unique clash between fiery passion and watery emotion. Mars' aggressive drive is met with Cancer's sensitivity, its introspective nature, and its focus on nurturing. This combination doesn't just stir up your emotions, it invites you to slow down and dig deep into what's truly going on beneath the surface. It's a period of emotional reckoning. The result? An internal storm. It's not the kind of storm you're used to. Aries, there are no dramatic outward battles to win, no risks to take or goals to conquer in the traditional sense. Instead, Mars retrograde in Cancer calls for emotional exploration. You're being asked to feel, to sit with your emotions, and to really tune into the deeper currents that you may have been avoiding in your everyday pursuit of success. So, why is this important for you, Aries? Because this retrograde is more than just a temporary glitch in your cosmic schedule. It's a spiritual invitation. The universe is offering you a unique opportunity to pause and reflect on your emotional world. To reconnect with the parts of yourself that you might have overlooked in your rush to achieve. It's time for you to ask some of the tough questions. Are my actions truly in alignment with my deeper purpose? Am I ignoring my emotional needs in favor of constant forward momentum? Am I being authentic in the way I approach life? Or am I simply following the script of what I think I should be doing? Mars retrograde in Cancer is essentially a spiritual reset. Aries, it's like hitting the pause button on your usual hustle and bustle, allowing you to recalibrate. Think of it as a cosmic tune-up for your soul. During this period, you're being asked to reflect on the path you've been walking, to examine whether the goals you've been chasing are truly fulfilling, or if you've been running on autopilot without considering what's truly in your heart. For many of you, slowing down isn't an easy thing to do. Aries, you're all about action, movement, and progress. The idea of putting the brakes on can feel uncomfortable and even frustrating. But this retrograde is not about forcing you to stay still. It's about encouraging you to move at a different pace. One that allows you to dive into your emotional depths and tune into the intuitive guidance that might have been clouded by your usual rush. This time isn't just about reflecting on past decisions. It's about understanding how your emotional landscape influences your actions, your relationships, and even your long-term goals. Mars retrograde in Cancer is like a cosmic invitation to step into the emotional realm that Cancer rules, nurturing, healing, and understanding. It's about reconnecting with the softer, more vulnerable parts of yourself that you might have brushed aside in favor of striving for external success. Think of it this way, Aries, if your journey up until now has been a race to the finish line. Mars retrograde in Cancer asks you to take a breath, look around, and ask yourself, why am I running so fast? Is it because you genuinely want to achieve your goals? Or is it because you're trying to outrun something inside of you, fear, pain, uncertainty, or emotional unrest? Embracing the spiritual invitation. During Mars retrograde in Cancer, you're being given a rare opportunity to listen more closely to your inner world. Instead of always seeking validation or success through external means, the universe is asking you to check in with your spirit and your emotions. This isn't a time to avoid your feelings or to distract yourself with busyness. It's an invitation to slow down, listen to what's inside, and trust the wisdom that resides within you. At first, it may feel like everything is slowing down too much, and you may even experience frustration. After all, you're an Aries. You like things fast. You like to make decisions and act decisively. But this is the beauty of Mars retrograde in Cancer. It's asking you to consider the deeper reasons behind your actions. It's giving you the space to heal, reflect, and refine your purpose, recalibrating your soul's path. By the end of this retrograde, Aries, you may find that you've gained a deeper understanding of yourself and your path in life. You may uncover areas where you've been overextending yourself, focusing too much on external achievements at the cost of your emotional well-being. You may realize that your drive for success has overshadowed the need for self-care, emotional nourishment, and inner peace. This retrograde is not just about slowing down for the sake of it. It's about ensuring that your future steps are aligned with your true purpose. When Mars goes direct again, you'll be in a better place to charge forward with clarity, intention, and a newfound sense of balance. So, Aries, while slowing down might not be your natural instinct, trust that the universe is offering you a chance to recalibrate, not just your goals, but your soul's path. This period is a divine invitation to reconnect with your emotions, realign with your deeper truth, and prepare yourself for the next phase of your journey with a renewed sense of purpose and authenticity. Chapter 2, The Inner Tempest, Emotional Turmoil Ahead. As Mars retrogrades through the sensitive sign of Cancer, prepare for a whirlwind of emotions that will likely sweep through your inner world. Aries, if you've ever experienced emotional turbulence before, this will take it to another level. Cancer, a water sign ruled by the moon, is all about feelings, intuition, and deep emotional connections. Combine that with Mars' fiery energy, which typically pushes you to act decisively and charge ahead, and you have the potential for a true internal storm. The usual Aries energy, the bold, fast-moving, and action-oriented drive, will suddenly feel at odds with Cancer's more contemplative, nurturing, and inward-focused vibe. You might feel an unsettling push-pull, like you're being yanked between two opposing forces. On one hand, your soul is itching to move forward, to make decisions and take action. On the other hand, your emotions will demand to be heard, urging you to slow down, reflect, and process what's really going on underneath the surface. It's a conflict between your desire for external achievements and your internal need for emotional safety and understanding. This internal tension is likely to manifest as restlessness. You'll find it difficult to focus on your usual ambitions and goals. It may feel like there's a sense of urgency inside of you, but no clear direction to follow. Your typical decisiveness will be clouded by doubt. You might second-guess your choices, especially when it comes to relationships or decisions that have emotional stakes. You could also feel a stronger pull toward introspection than you're comfortable with, something that's not typical for you, as Aries prefers to move forward without looking back. In these moments, the impulsive nature you're known for might seem to vanish, replaced by hesitation and caution. The thought of taking action might fill you with uncertainty. You may find yourself overthinking situations or avoiding making decisions entirely. It could feel like you're caught in a riptide, torn between your drive to forge ahead and the emotional depths you're being asked to dive into. The more you try to control it, the more the emotions can feel like they're swallowing you whole. I've been through this myself. Aries, I've experienced Mars retrograde moments when I felt like everything was off track, and I couldn't pinpoint why. It's frustrating, confusing, and, honestly, a little scary when the usual confidence you rely on is suddenly replaced with self-doubt and internal chaos. But here's what I've learned: the emotional chaos doesn't have to be avoided. It can be transformative if you let it. I remember a particular Mars retrograde period when I found myself overwhelmed with emotions I had long ignored. I was frustrated with how everything seemed to stall and how I couldn't seem to get things moving in the direction I wanted. At first, I resisted it. I fought the feeling of being stuck, wanting to push through it, ignoring the emotional signals my soul was sending me. But eventually, I realized that the only way out was through. I decided to allow myself to feel everything: the anger, the sadness, the confusion. And while it wasn't easy, it was through embracing that emotional chaos that I found deep healing. I began to uncover old fears and limiting beliefs that had been blocking my progress for years. Those emotions, once acknowledged and felt, no longer held power over me. Instead of driving me to act impulsively or make rash decisions, they helped me make space for clarity. I realized that by confronting those uncomfortable feelings, I was able to shed the old layers that no longer served me. I was finally able to step into a new chapter of my life, where my actions were not just driven by blind ambition, but by a deeper sense of purpose. Why am I telling you this, Aries? Because you're about to face a similar process. Mars retrograde in Cancer is not about rushing to fix things or trying to avoid the emotional turmoil that may arise. It's about giving yourself permission to slow down and feel what's coming up, without judgment or resistance. Emotions that you've buried may resurface during this time, and while it might feel overwhelming, this is actually a gift. The more you allow yourself to embrace the emotional chaos instead of fighting it, the more you'll learn about yourself. When you allow yourself to feel fully, you're opening the door to deeper self-awareness. The emotional turbulence may lead you to uncover long-held wounds or unresolved issues that you've been pushing aside. It might feel like you're being dragged under by waves of emotion. But trust me, Aries, by letting go and surrendering to the current, you will eventually emerge stronger, more aligned with your authentic self, and clearer about what you truly need moving forward. During this Mars retrograde, you may find yourself in moments of confusion or emotional upheaval. You may doubt your relationships, question your career choices, or feel unsure about the direction you've been heading in life. But it's important to remember that these feelings aren't signs of failure. They're a part of the process of emotional growth and healing. Think of this period as a cosmic invitation to dive deep into the hidden parts of your soul and make space for true emotional healing. It's an opportunity to reconnect with what you really want and need. Not just on a surface level, but on a soul-deep level. The more you embrace this process, the more you will begin to understand that you don't need to constantly do to find your way. You don't need to rush through these emotions, trying to get to the next thing. Instead, let the process unfold naturally. Trust that by surrendering to the emotional storm, you will come out of it with a greater understanding of yourself and your true desires. So, Aries, I encourage you to take this time seriously. Don't shy away from the emotional discomfort, because it's through facing it head-on that you'll experience the most growth. Give yourself the grace to feel, reflect, and heal. Only by understanding your emotions fully will you be able to move forward with clarity and purpose once Mars moves direct again. Mars retrograde in Cancer may feel like an emotional roller coaster. But know this, the turbulence is temporary. And the insights gained during this period can propel you into a more balanced, fulfilled version of yourself. So, embrace the emotional ride. You're on the brink of a profound transformation. Aries, trust the process. Chapter 3, Connecting with Your Intuition, a Spiritual Awakening. Mars retrograde in Cancer isn't just about navigating emotional turbulence. It's a golden opportunity to reconnect with your intuition and experience a profound spiritual awakening. While your natural instinct may be to charge ahead and push through obstacles, this retrograde period calls you to pause, reflect, and listen to the subtle whispers of your inner voice. Cancer, the sign in which Mars is retrograding, is ruled by the moon and is known for its deep emotional intelligence, sensitivity, and profound intuition. This energy will heighten your ability to tap into a level of insight that you might usually overlook in your quest for action and achievement. With Mars, the planet of desire, assertiveness, and energy, slowing down and turning inward, this is your chance to embrace a quieter, more reflective form of power. Mars' fiery, assertive nature, which usually propels you forward in life, now encourages you to take a step back and listen to your soul. You might start noticing that you're more sensitive to the energies around you during this time. That gut feeling you often dismiss, it's going to get louder. The small, almost imperceptible signs from the universe, those synchronicities, dreams, or gut reactions that normally fly under your radar, will take center stage in your life. This is a powerful, cosmic nudge for you to tune into your inner wisdom and trust what you're feeling, rather than simply relying on your usual action-based drive. During Mars retrograde in Cancer, pay close attention to your intuition. You might notice that your instincts are sharper than usual, guiding you in directions you didn't expect. This period is an invitation to deepen your connection with the spiritual side of life, and your intuition will serve as a powerful compass. The universe is speaking to you in ways that may not be immediately obvious. But if you allow yourself to quiet your mind and open your heart, the guidance you receive could be life-changing. The importance of listening to your inner voice. Mars retrograde is a time for introspection, not just in terms of your emotions, but also in how you process information from the world around you. Normally, you might charge ahead based on logic, competition, or external goals, but during this period, your inner guidance is the true force that will lead you to the right decisions. The dream world is one area where your intuitive guidance can manifest. When Mars retrogrades in Cancer, many people experience vivid dreams or premonitions that carry deep significance. These are often messages from your subconscious or the divine, revealing hidden truths or offering directions you may have been overlooking. So, pay attention to what surfaces in your dreams and what your gut tells you. Your intuition, sharpened by Cancer's emotional depth, is more likely to show you the answers you've been seeking. I can speak from personal experience. Mars retrograde periods have often been when my intuition has become particularly strong. One retrograde, I had a dream that radically shifted my life. It wasn't one of those vague dreams we all have from time to time. It was clear, vivid, and filled with meaning. In the dream, I saw a path I had been avoiding, a part of my journey that felt scary and uncertain but deeply necessary for my personal growth. At the time, it felt risky. I hesitated. Could I trust this dream? Could I trust this feeling? But as I reflected on the dream, I realized it wasn't just a random image or a passing thought. It was a direct message from my soul. It was showing me where I needed to go, even if it meant stepping out of my comfort zone. I chose to follow it. And looking back now, I can see how pivotal that decision was for my spiritual growth. It wasn't an easy one to make, and the path wasn't always smooth, but trusting that intuitive nudge ultimately guided me toward my true purpose. That dream, which I initially thought was just a random figment of my imagination, ended up being the key to unlocking a deeper level of myself, a level one had been too afraid to confront. It was the push I needed to make the changes that would align me with my soul's true calling. Synchronicities, signs of divine guidance. Another powerful way your intuition may show up during this Mars retrograde is through synchronicities, those seemingly random events or connections that feel divinely orchestrated. You might find yourself bumping into the right people at just the right time, hearing exactly the message you needed, or experiencing strange but meaningful coincidences that guide your next steps. These aren't just coincidences, they are messages from the universe, urging you to pay attention, It's easy to dismiss synchronicities as luck or chance, but during this Mars retrograde period, they are likely to hold deeper significance. Trust that these small, seemingly insignificant events are part of a larger spiritual pattern designed just for you. When these synchronicities occur, take a moment to pause and reflect. What is the universe trying to tell you? What doors are opening for you? And are you listening? For example, let's say you're considering a big decision, maybe a career change or a move to a new city, and suddenly, you hear someone mention the very thing you've been thinking about in a completely unrelated conversation. Or perhaps you open a book, and the passage that catches your eye is exactly what you needed to hear. These moments are not accidents. They're the divine, speaking directly to you through the fabric of everyday life. Mars retrograde in Cancer encourages you to stop and notice these signs. Not just brush them off as coincidence. They are the divine nudging you, offering gentle guidance to help you navigate this period of introspection and transformation. Embracing the spiritual awakening. Mars retrograde in Cancer is an invitation for you, Aries, to pause and go within. As much as you might crave action, this time is not about charging ahead, it's about turning your focus inward and connecting with the quieter, more intuitive side of yourself. The external world will wait. The most important work during this period is internal, and your intuition is the tool that will guide you. Think of this time as a spiritual awakening. The more you trust your inner voice, the clearer you will become about your true purpose. Mars retrograde gives you the space to strip away the distractions and tune into what your soul is truly calling you toward. Trust that the divine has been working behind the scenes to lead you to a more aligned path, one that speaks to your highest good. When you embrace this spiritual awakening, you will find that the answers you've been searching for were always inside of you. You just had to slow down, listen, and trust in the guidance the universe is providing you. And in doing so, you will reconnect with your authentic self, with your purpose, and with the divine energy that's always been there to guide you. Chapter 4: Healing and Strengthening Relationships, Family and Emotional Bonds. Mars retrograde in Cancer brings with it a deeply transformative energy when it comes to relationships, especially with family and loved ones. Cancer is a sign that revolves around the concepts of home, family, and emotional security. It governs the spaces where we seek refuge, comfort, and nurturing. During this retrograde, these themes become especially prominent. You may find yourself reflecting on your emotional connections, reassessing your relationships, and, in some cases, healing old wounds that you may have tucked away. Cancer's nurturing, compassionate energy has a way of stirring up the deeper, often hidden emotions we carry. This is not a time to shy away from the vulnerabilities that come with intimacy, rather. It's an invitation to open up and give attention to the emotional needs of both yourself and others. Relationships that have been neglected, unresolved conflicts that have festered, or old emotional baggage that you've been avoiding are all likely to come to the surface during this period. Mars retrograde encourages you to slow down, look within, and use this time to heal and strengthen your bonds. Revisiting old wounds. For you, Aries, this can be particularly challenging. You're an initiator, someone who thrives on action and forward momentum. You're used to charging ahead, taking risks, and fighting for what you want. But during Mars retrograde, particularly in the emotionally sensitive sign of Cancer, you are urged to pause, take a step back, and confront what lies beneath the surface. It's not just about fixing what's broken on the outside, it's about understanding the emotional undercurrents that affect your relationships. In many ways, Mars retrograde offers a chance to look inward and assess your emotional wounds. Are there unresolved issues with family members that need attention? Maybe there's an old grievance, an argument that was never fully resolved, or a misunderstanding that's been brewing under the surface. The retrograde energy will prompt you to re-examine these emotions, whether you're consciously aware of them or not, and when you allow yourself to feel them, to understand the deeper layers of the situation, the healing can begin. This period is not about pushing these feelings aside, nor is it about ignoring the emotional demands of your relationships. Instead, it's about confronting the discomfort, addressing the emotional pain, and taking the necessary steps to mend what's been broken. This isn't about rushing through it, it's about slowing down enough to let healing happen on its own time. Nurturing yourself and others. Aries, you are a fiercely independent sign. Your natural tendency is to go it alone, to blaze your own trail, and to make things happen by sheer willpower. You pride yourself on your ability to handle challenges head-on and stand strong in your autonomy. However, Cancer energy, while nurturing and protective, also challenges you to connect with others on a deeper, more vulnerable level. It's asking you to let go of the armor you often wear and allow yourself to feel supported. This can be an uncomfortable process, especially for someone who values independence as much as you do. But Mars retrograde in Cancer calls you to soften those edges, to allow others to be there for you in ways you might have resisted in the past. It's a reminder that you don't always have to carry the weight alone. It's okay to lean on those you love for emotional support, whether that's family, close friends, or even your community. By opening up and expressing your emotions, you create space for connection, healing, and growth. Healing family relationships. Family dynamics are often at the core of our emotional well-being, and Mars retrograde in Cancer brings these relationships into the spotlight. The retrograde energy invites you to explore these bonds in a deeper way. Are there misunderstandings with a sibling, a parent, or a loved one that you've been avoiding? Now is the time to address those issues. There may be old wounds that need to be acknowledged and healed, and this period of introspection can help bring them to light. Perhaps there are unspoken resentments that have built up over time, or maybe there's a lack of emotional support that has left you feeling distant or disconnected. Mars retrograde in Cancer asks you to be present with those feelings, to sit with them, and to examine how they've influenced your current relationships. Sometimes, just acknowledging the hurt and giving voice to those feelings can create the space for healing. But healing family relationships isn't just about reconciling with others, it's about learning to nurture and take care of yourself in the process. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you've neglected your own emotional needs in favor of others, it's time to shift the focus back on yourself. This retrograde period is about striking a balance between caring for others and ensuring that you're taking care of your own emotional health. It's not selfish to need emotional support, Aries, it's human, and the sooner you accept that, the more you'll be able to authentically show up for the people you care about. Healing starts with you. Personal experience, embracing vulnerability. I'll share something personal with you. During a previous Mars retrograde in Cancer, I experienced a major falling out with a family member. It wasn't a huge conflict, but there were lingering emotional tensions that neither of us had addressed. My immediate reaction was to fight my way through it, push past the discomfort and act like everything was fine. I thought I could just handle it on my own, that maybe the time would fix things. But as the retrograde energy unfolded, I began to realize that I couldn't avoid the emotional work I needed to do. I had to embrace vulnerability. Instead of running away from the discomfort, I leaned into it. I spent time reflecting on my emotions and trying to understand not just my feelings, but my family members as well. It wasn't easy. It felt incredibly awkward and uncomfortable to open up. But when I did, I found that it created a space for healing. By being vulnerable and letting go of my need to control the situation, I allowed the relationship to heal in a way I had never imagined. We both came to understand each other better, and the bond we shared became stronger for it. Sometimes, the act of letting your guard down and acknowledging your own pain is the key to opening a door for deeper connection and understanding. The power of compassionate communication. During Mars retrograde in Cancer, the way you communicate, especially within family and close relationships, becomes incredibly important. Cancer is all about emotional security, and during this period, you may feel especially sensitive to words or actions that feel dismissive, neglectful, or unsupportive. To heal and strengthen your relationships, you need to communicate with care, understanding, and empathy. Practice patience with yourself and others. Recognize that everyone is carrying their own emotional baggage, and sometimes conflicts arise because of misunderstandings or unmet emotional needs. Being able to listen deeply, without judgment, and communicate from a place of compassion can go a long way toward mending relationships. If there are unresolved issues with family, take this time to open the lines of communication. It may not be an easy conversation, but it's one worth having. The energy of Mars retrograde in Cancer asks you to be honest with your emotions, to express what's in your heart, and to listen with empathy. The process of healing and strengthening these bonds takes time, but it begins with vulnerability, honesty, and the willingness to show up fully for yourself and the people you care about. Chapter 5. Financial caution and practicality. Avoid impulsive actions. Mars retrograde brings a pause to the usual fast-paced momentum of decision-making, and this energy can have a significant impact on your financial landscape. Aries, as the planet of action, drive, and energy, Mars governs your ability to take bold steps, particularly when it comes to how you manage your resources and make money. However, when Mars goes retrograde, its forward-moving power turns inward, urging you to reassess, reflect, And be cautious, especially when it comes to your finances. This isn't the time to make hasty financial moves or get swept up in the heat of the moment. The dangers of impulsivity. Mars is associated with boldness, courage, and the ability to take risks. In your typical Aries fashion, you often embrace financial opportunities with enthusiasm, ready to invest, spend, or take risks in pursuit of growth or success. You may be drawn to impulse buys, quick investments, or sudden financial decisions. However, Mars retrograde can reveal the dangers of rushing into these moves. Impulsive financial actions during this period could lead to regret. Whether it's a large purchase, a hasty investment, or a spontaneous financial commitment, the retrograde energy encourages you to take a step back before moving forward. In my own experience, I've learned this lesson the hard way. During a past Mars retrograde, I made an impulsive purchase, something I thought I really needed in the moment. But it didn't align with my long-term goals. I didn't take the time to evaluate the full financial impact, and it ended up being a decision I regretted. Similarly, I've jumped into investments without fully considering the risks or the potential long-term effects. The excitement of making a big financial move clouded my judgment, and it took time to recover from the rash decisions. Slow down and reassess. Mars retrograde is a cosmic signal to slow down, especially in areas where your impulsive nature often leads the way. When it comes to your finances, now is the time to pause, reflect, and reassess. Take this time to revisit your current financial situation. Are there areas where you're overspending or habits that need to change? Instead of jumping into new financial commitments, use this period to evaluate your existing budget, track your spending, and revisit any financial plans you've put in place. This retrograde isn't about making big, bold financial moves, it's about making small, mindful adjustments that will benefit your future. Rather than seeking out quick gains or immediate gratification, shift your focus toward long-term security. Are you putting enough effort into saving, investing wisely, and planning for your future? Mars retrograde is an opportunity to get grounded in your financial goals, ensuring that your actions align with your true needs, not just fleeting impulses. It's a time for practicality over excitement. Budgeting and saving, key focus areas. One of the most productive ways to use Mars retrograde is by focusing on budgeting and saving, instead of being drawn into buying things you don't need or making risky investments. Take a more mindful approach. Create a detailed budget and assess your spending habits. Do you have a clear understanding of where your money is going each month? Are you setting aside enough for savings, investments, or unexpected expenses? If you haven't already, consider setting up an emergency fund or revisiting your retirement plans. This retrograde period gives you the space to really take stock of your financial situation without the pressure of immediate action. Focus on establishing a solid foundation for the future, even if that means taking small, steady steps rather than rushing forward. Revisit your financial goals, whether that's paying down debt, saving for a big purchase, or simply getting a better grip on your spending, and take this time to align your day-to-day habits with those aspirations. Avoid risky investments. Mars retrograde can also lead to poor judgment when it comes to investments, especially those that seem to offer quick returns. Whether you're considering stocks, cryptocurrency, or other speculative investments, it's essential to approach these with extreme caution. The impulsivity you might feel during this time could push you to make decisions based on excitement rather than careful thought. In the past, I've been tempted by the allure of quick wins during a Mars retrograde, and I've paid the price for that. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of a hot tip or an investment opportunity that promises big returns. But during retrogrades, the energy isn't conducive to making these kinds of decisions. In fact, they often lead to missteps or losses that could have been avoided with a more measured, thoughtful approach. Instead of looking for the next big financial breakthrough, consider focusing on safer, more reliable financial moves, paying off debt, setting aside a little more for savings, or simply reevaluating your current investments to ensure they're still aligned with your long-term goals. Remember, this retrograde isn't a time for bold action. It's a time to take a step back, reassess, and make sure you're building a solid financial foundation for the future. Mindful spending. Mars retrograde also offers an opportunity to reflect on your personal relationship with money. Do you tend to be impulsive with your spending? Are there emotional triggers that cause you to make purchases that aren't necessary? Mars in retrograde can often highlight these tendencies, and this is the time to make changes. It's a chance to reframe how you approach money, not as something to quickly gain or lose, but as a tool to create stability, security, and long-term well-being. Use this time to get real about your needs versus your wants. Make a conscious effort to curb impulse buying, especially with things that may not align with your true values or goals. Take the time to understand why you're making certain purchases. Are you fulfilling an emotional need or simply acting on impulse? Mars retrograde invites you to develop a more mindful, intentional approach to how you manage and spend your money. The value of patience. Lastly, it's important to embrace patience during Mars retrograde. The desire to rush ahead and make decisions quickly is a natural instinct for you, Aries. But this retrograde calls for a more patient, thoughtful approach. When it comes to your finances, there's no rush. Take this time to learn the art of waiting. Whether it's waiting for the right investment opportunity, waiting for the right time to make a major purchase, or simply waiting for more clarity. Rushing into financial decisions could lead to mistakes that may take longer to undo than if you had simply taken your time to consider all of the factors. A personal reflection. I remember a time when I impulsively jumped into an investment during a Mars retrograde. It felt right in the moment, everyone was talking about it, and the potential for profit seemed huge. However, I didn't take enough time to do my own research, and in the end, the investment didn't pan out the way I had hoped. Looking back, I realized that if I had just taken a step back, reevaluated my priorities, and given myself more time to reflect, I could have avoided that mistake. The lesson here is clear. When it comes to your finances, taking a pause is far more valuable than rushing forward without consideration. Mars retrograde gives you the opportunity to reset your financial priorities and move toward a more balanced, thoughtful approach to money. Conclusion: the power of patience and reflection. Aries, this Mars retrograde isn't just another bump in the cosmic road, it's an invitation to embrace the slower, more reflective side of yourself. I know it can feel uncomfortable for you. After all, your sign is known for charging forward with fiery determination and boundless energy. But here's the thing, when Mars goes retrograde, especially in Cancer, it's a time to slow down. It's a time to dig deep into your emotions, reconnect with your heart, and really listen to what your soul is trying to tell you. This isn't a time to rush through life or push forward at full speed. It's a time to pause, reflect, and allow the universe to guide you toward what's truly aligned with your purpose. While it might feel like you're being held back or stuck, this retrograde offers you an incredible opportunity for transformation. Instead of resisting, open yourself up to the emotional waves that come your way. Trust that these feelings, even if they're intense or unexpected, are part of the healing process. There's no need to control everything or push to make things happen. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is simply surrender to the flow. Let go of the need to force outcomes and allow the universe to unfold in its own perfect timing. During this retrograde, your intuition will be a powerful ally. Cancer's energy will heighten your ability to listen to your inner voice. Pay attention to those gut feelings, dreams, and synchronicities. They're not just coincidence, they're the divine whispering guidance into your ear. By trusting in this inner knowing, you'll be able to navigate through the emotional turbulence and emerge stronger, wiser, and more aligned with your spiritual path. The healing you're experiencing now, whether it's emotional wounds from the past or old patterns that no longer serve you, is exactly what you need to reconnect with your highest self. Mars retrograde is like a cosmic reset, a moment to reassess where you're headed and how you're moving through life. Are you truly in tune with your soul's desires? Or are you simply going through the motions, driven by external expectations? This retrograde invites you to recalibrate, to realign with your inner truth and create a path forward that is authentic and fulfilling. When Mars finally turns direct again, you'll feel like a weight has been lifted. The road ahead will feel clearer, and you'll have a renewed sense of purpose. But in order to fully embrace that next chapter, it's essential to give yourself the space to reflect and heal now. Don't rush through this time. Allow yourself to fully experience the emotional depth that's unfolding, because it's through this process that you'll be able to create a life that's more aligned with your deepest values and desires. As you navigate through this Mars retrograde, remember that this is not a time to fight against the current but to flow with it. The universe has a plan for you, Aries, and right now, it's guiding you to rediscover your inner power, your emotional truth, and your spiritual clarity. Embrace the pause, trust the process, and when Mars turns direct again, you'll be ready to move forward with a new sense of direction, grounded in the wisdom you've gained during this transformative time. Thank you for watching. If you're already feeling the effects of this Mars retrograde or have had a powerful retrograde experience in the past, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Let's share our stories and support each other through this cosmic journey. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit subscribe for more insights on how the stars are guiding us. Until next time, Aries, stay true to yourself, trust the process, and remember, the universe always has a plan for you.